everyone, this is Time to Talk Mental Health podcast. Welcome again, and I have the lovely Kathryn Chapman here, who is a photographer and much, much more. Today we haven't got Vanessa with us, but it's just myself and Kathryn. But I'd just like Kathryn to tell us about everything that she does, and you can see some images if you are watching this video as well of some examples, and she's obviously got much more as well. So Kathryn, take it away.
Thank you so much, Firehune. It's really lovely to be on this podcast. Thank you for asking me. Very kind of you. So I'm a portrait photographer based in Surrey in the UK, and I specialise in photographing women in a way to help them transform the relationship they have with themselves for good mental health, mental well-being, and self-compassion and self-love. And the work that I do stems from my own journey with depression and anxiety. After a suicide attempt in my early 20s, I was in and out of talking therapy for 25 years. Lost count of the amount of therapists I had. I can't remember at all. And I got to the point, I just finished early 2018, I finished another year-long stint of some really good therapy, actually. But I wasn't feeling better long term. I'd feel a bit better, stop therapy, be all right for a while, and then sink back into my depression. And I just thought there was something wrong with me, and I didn't understand why all this time and money I was spending on therapy wasn't working. And I'd had this idea for a self-portrait shoot that just wouldn't go away. And the therapy came to an end in January 2018. And in April, I did this shoot. I gave myself the ultimate challenge because I was always comparing myself to other people. Other people have it worse than me, and it's not helpful. And I just thought, I want to see my depression. I want to look myself in the eye, and I want to see if it's as bad as it feels. So every time I think of it, I think, what on earth possessed me to do that? It just sounds like the craziest idea ever. And I didn't really know what to expect or what in the images or what they were going to be like. I sat with my most difficult emotions and I photographed what was there. And what I did see when I looked at the images, I was really surprised at, because I didn't hate what I saw. I didn't hate the woman looking back at me. I just saw this person in agony, crying out for help. And the only person who could give that to her was me. And from that moment on, I saw myself as a completely different person. I started to show myself compassion and love. I started to like myself. I started to look after myself, which I'd never done before. So I began self-care, and I can't really remember what I did. I did like little things. Bit of meditation, some mindfulness, working out what made me feel good, exercise, worked on my spirituality as well. I kind of approached it holistically, and my gallery was this catalyst for me to look after myself, which was really extraordinary. And I went from, I can trace my depression and anxiety back to when I was about 4, and I went from having lived that for 40 odd years to suddenly it not being all consuming, and my depression and anxiety was kind of to one side and in a box, and I could get it out and have a look at it and deal with it when I wanted to, but it wasn't consuming me. And it was extraordinary because as time went on, I just felt better and better and better. 6 months after my shoot, I decided I'd share an image which I would have put all my money and all my possessions on the fact that I was never going to do that when I did the shoot. And I felt so good. I wanted other people to see, and I wanted to see what other people thought, about it. So I shared an image. So it was an image of me with barbed wire wrapped around my head.
Oh, I've seen that. It's beautiful. Oh,
Bless
yeah.
you.
Well, it's
Thank
like
you.
beautiful, not in the most obvious beautiful way, because obviously it's quite traumatizing, but in it, very, very. And you've sent me that one to put on the video as well, and it's beautiful.
Bless you. Thank you. I really appreciate your feedback. That was, I think, one of the first images that I took, and of course one of the first images that I saw, and it's the one for me that sums up my journey, and it's the one image that I always go back to. And I thought, what if other women would be able to benefit from this as well? Can I offer this as a service, and could other women, you know, get even half what I got out of it? That would be incredible, because it transformed my life. And what was so surprising to me was the fact that it just continued. I just continued to feel better and better and better and better. And there's a load of neuroscience around it as well, about what happens when you look at images of people that you recognize. But I'm convinced there's some deep-seated subconscious processing that goes on a permanent basis, because I'm 3 years later, I'm still using my images for self-discovery and growth. And it's amazing. So at the end of 2018, I put out this call on my Facebook page, and I, you know, with that image, the barbed wire image, and I went, oh, you know, I've done this. I'm trialing this. Who wants to do it? And it was like the world had been waiting for me to ask the question. That's kind of how it felt with the response that I got, because, you know, just little old me with you know, a couple of hundred mates on my Facebook page, and suddenly, you know, everyone is going, yeah, I'll do it. And I photographed in total, I photographed 23 women to do the process, and it went better than I ever thought it would. I mean, it was just astonishing. And then early last year, I launched it as part of my business. So that's what I do. And after doing something, so my shoot, and I call it face to face, because I wanted to see myself face to face. From doing my shoot for me and only me, with no intention of ever sharing any of the images, to where I am now, nearly 3 years later, finding my life purpose through my own exploration, my own self-exploration, was absolutely astonishing to me. And it's all I want to do now. It's my dream and my passion to keep doing this work for as long as possible, to help as many women as I can. So that's kind of the main thing that I do. I do other stuff as well. So I do something called a freedom shoot, which is much more creative, and it's, you know, lovely frocks and a nice location. And I use a technique I've developed that uses breathing, movement and connection to create imagery and to allow my clients to let go and to come out of their head, be connected to themselves in their body and their surroundings, connected with me and the process, and just letting go and revealing who they are. And these shoots are amazing for different reasons, because these shoots are my clients seeing themselves in a different way again, and with another perspective. But it's celebrating all their kind of the amazing things they are in a really creative way. And I know exactly where the magic is in the process, and exactly when they let go, and they never fail to make me cry. those shoots, because I look on if I think I've got that one image, because the moments are quite fleeting, and I have a look on the back of my camera, and I know I've got it. That's it. I'm gone. I'm like, oh my god. So that they make my soul sing, those shoots. So it's a beautiful. My processes are beautiful, because they are revealing really incredible things about my clients, things that they don't know about themselves and they can't see. And my challenge is if you think you can't do it, if you think you're not beautiful, if you think this isn't for you, and it's not there, come, let me prove you wrong. Because those are the women that I want to work with, the ones who really don't believe that these things are there in them, because they absolutely are.
Oh wow. So do you know what's really intrigued me? How do people come to you? Like, what do they say? Do they tell you what's going on? Do they tell you any information, or is it a complete blank canvas? You don't know anything. All you know is that they're in front of you. Like, how much information do you need to know? And because do people see you as not a counsellor, but you're almost counselling through your camera? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite clear. I'm not a therapist. I'm not trained in any kind of therapy. it's a creative process, and it's about looking at yourself from a different perspective, one that focuses on all the good things you are that you can't see about yourself, like your strength and your resilience and your courage and bravery and vulnerability. So when I'm working with clients with the face-to-face process, I am photographing a client as they're telling their story. So
oh, really?
yeah.
So they're mid conversation with you. That's beautiful.
And yeah, and I just took myself then to being in the middle of a shoot, and I was just thinking, when do I press the shutter? When do I take the picture? And that's instinctive. Like with my freedom shoots, that's what I call the creative ones. I call them freedom shoots, the freedom to express yourself. And it's a conversation. So, and I'm right next to the camera photographing, and it's the moment that I can sense through my body and the energy in the room, and what they're saying and what they're not saying, sensing when the right moment is to take the picture, when they're really connecting with how they're feeling, because I know those are going to be the images that are going to be the most beneficial for them, and that are going to give them the greatest breadth and richness of learning about who they are. So clients can say as much or as little as they want. It's very important for me to create a safe space. So I do that from the first conversation that I have with them. I talk about how it's going to work, and, you know, what will go on. And we shape the space together so that we have boundaries that we're both comfortable with. We know that what's very important is my client knows that they're completely in control, and we can stop at any time if some, you know, they're getting too upset, or they're starting to talk about something that perhaps they're a little bit uncomfortable with, then you know, they don't have to talk about anything they don't want to. And in fact, I'm quite happy to do a shoot where we don't say anything at all. I'd love to do that, because I think that would be fascinating, what would come in the silence. And what would be there. I think it would be incredible. And then the gallery is then used as a reflection tool. So I'm basically holding a mirror up to my clients, and when we look at the images, you know, I create a journey in the pictures, and we look through, and, you know, I will say what I see, and my clients will say what they see, and then we talk about that, and we talk about what's in the images, and what's there that they can't see. And I ask them to look beyond the superficial and sit with what emotion is there, and really connect with themselves, because having images to work through and look back on, it is, you know, it helps us make sense of the world, and it's an anchor for a time in your life, and it's an opportunity to really see yourself as somebody you haven't seen yourself before as. And it's incredibly powerful and very revealing and extraordinarily beautiful, because we're so much braver and stronger than we ever give ourselves credit for. And these shoots are an opportunity to see that, to really see that. And when you have them in a picture, you cannot deny what is looking back at you. You cannot deny this person who is digging so deep, who's really vulnerable and courageous in their vulnerability. Oh my God, I've got goose pimply just talking about it. And it's so beautiful. And they can go back over and over and over their images, you know, for the rest of their lives, and get beautiful learnings from it, and remind themselves how amazing they are. Because you don't come and do a shoot like that if you're not, you know,
strong.
ready.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Because do always say the hardest part of when you've got mental health is admitting it, or if you've got a problem is admitting it. So by them getting that photo shoot, they're taking that step. That's the hardest thing, is doing it, and they've done it. And I think looking back at them pictures, it does show a lot. Because how many times, I was just thinking when you said pictures, you can see all the emotion, and how many times have I've got, you know, Instagram, talking about something a bit more modern, but when they do the archive of, you were doing this 2 years ago, and you look at the image and you go, oh gosh, I didn't realize how skinny I was. Oh, look at my face. I don't look very happy. But if you forced your, not forced yourself, but you've actually told yourself, I'm going to go to this photo shoot. You are going so open-minded. It's not like a random candid picture. This picture is, you know what you're going in for, and you're going to get something out of it.
Yeah, and you know, it's the old adage, growth isn't found in comfort, and it's not a comfortable thing to do. But my aim is to make it comfortably uncomfortable.
Oh,
like
gotcha.
that. So you're pushing yourself, but it's not scary. And you're in safe hands with someone who understands it. I mean, there hasn't been a shoot I've done which there hasn't been similar experiences, you know, and it's two way. So that's the interesting thing about the work, is it's a kind of weird in between talking with your mate and having formal therapy. Because with formal therapy, the therapist has, you know, their training and stuff, and what they can and can't say with a client. And then when you're talking with a mate, you've got maybe history and emotional stuff going on there, and with me it's neither, and I talk about my stuff, you know, if I feel that it is appropriate, and to show empathy and understanding, and it's very relational. And that's what I love about it, is because, you know, if my client's opening up, then I want them to feel, you know, that they're with somebody that understands what they're going through. And if I can say, yeah, that happened to me as well, then that really helps that process. And it's the kind of this beautiful to and fro, this lovely flow of conversation, and it's very relaxed, and it can be about anything they want it to be. And some people have told me things that they've never told anyone before in their life. So it's a huge privilege for me to hold that space for women and my clients. So it's wonderful work, absolutely wonderful.
It sounds honouring, really, for both
Yeah.
sides, because they're having the trust in you. And I know that people don't find trust very easy. And if they trust you and have made that step, I was just wondering, this is just on the top of my head, would you say to someone it'd be good to do it twice as well in their life, just to see how they progress? So someone can do it when they're like, when they feel like they're having a hard time, they might come to you, have it done, and then one day they might come like, Kathryn, actually, I'd like to do a shoot 3 years later, but they've had children or something like that. Would you think that's a good idea, just to see the progression in their face and how strong or how sad they are compared, you know what I mean, each emotion? I was just thinking, do you think there's a journey in doing it more than once?
Well, that is such a brilliant question, because I have done two.
Okay.
Yeah, and I shot specifically just before Christmas, for something specific for me, and something that I've only really just started looking at in my life, that I've just been ready for. And it wasn't as powerful. It was powerful. It wasn't as powerful as my first one. And knowing that, I would say no, actually. And I would recommend a freedom shoot as something different, and definitely those are the things to repeat. But the face-to-face shoot, what I would do is use the images to their images to. So say I photographed a client, and they went through the process, and then 5 years later they came back to me and said, you know, I want to do another shoot. I would probably say to them, well, I would definitely say to them, let's look at your gallery first. Let's look at that and see how you feel, because for me it's such an unusual and one-off thing. I just don't think it has the same power and effect a second time around, whatever has gone on. And we can still use the images to remind her of her strength and bravery.
Yeah.
And what I love to do, which is what I do as part of the process, is there's an initial gallery viewing after the shoot, but there's another one 4 or 5 months later. And the point of that is to see how my clients feels about how she feels differently about her images, what has changed in that time, and it's a reflection tool. So I would do that. I mean, the clients that I've had, I've done that with. So I think the longest one, I think, was about 18 months after their shoot. we've looked back at the images and reflected on what's happened, and there's so much learning, there's so much still to find. And I think using them in that way actually is more powerful, because you're taken back to why you came there in the first place. You're really relating to that initial anxiety and what was really going on for you there, and using that as an anchor to show how far you've propelled yourself forward in that time. And I think using it that way actually is a lot more powerful. Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense, because I think when people do something, like you said, this is a very, very different experience. You're never ever going to get this. And I do feel it's one of the things where you will never beat the first time, because you're going to, it's like if you jump from a parachute, like from up from an airplane, I don't think the second time is going to be as thrilling as the first time, because the first time you've never done it before, and the second time you know what you're going to expect. So like you've got to be so vulnerable, and in a good way though, vulnerable and open. I think to do the photography, you've got to be open-minded, and I think it's an incredible experience. It's such a different way to look at yourself, because they always say that you should work, like your inner child, and you should do shadow work. If you're obviously you're into holistic stuff like I am, and they always say do this, but it's very hard to just sit there and think about it. But seeing the images, you're actually seeing it, because your face, people's eyes, people's lips, they all say very different things than what you think.
Yes, and you can't. I mean, like I said before, you can't deny what's looking back at you. You know,
Exactly.
you can't. A client can't say to me, that's not there. You know, that I don't see that. Well, they can say that, but I can say, well, look at it slightly differently. Look at it this way. What do you want to say to this person? What do they want to say to you? And having that distance between what's going on in your head and the pictures on the screen is that really powerful, to give you some objectivity, so you can start to see yourself as somebody slightly removed from who you are, but so that you can then show them that compassion. And the clients that come to me, they're ready for it. You know, they have a level of apprehension, and if they didn't, something wouldn't be quite right. I think I would want them to have apprehension, because they need to be pushing themselves and growing through their discomfort in this. And but they know they're ready fundamentally, and they know they want to face this, and that's what's so incredible. So when a woman comes to me and goes, I'm ready, I'm like, yes, oh my god, this is amazing, you're going to get so much out of it. It's very exciting work, you know, and I've been there. I know it's not easy, but the benefits are just extraordinary. And yeah, I can't, you know, I mean, I know it's part of my business, but I'd love everyone to do it if they wanted it, if they could. So, you know, it's so powerful.
Oh, definitely. I just think that when a woman must come to you and go, yeah, I want this now, you must be like, it must be so empowering for you as well as them, because they're taking that step like, I want to do this and I'm going to do it now, and you're going to help me, and you're going, I'm certainly going to help. Oh God,
Yeah,
God, it's making me feel a warm inside. I'm like,
lovely.
It's so different. This is what we need. We need different. And I've never heard this before, so you are literally the first person I've ever known doing something like this. And I just want to say, Kathryn, I think it's incredible.
Thank you. That's really kind. I mean, there's a lot of phototherapy out there. There, you know, it's still relatively unknown in the grand scheme of things, but there is a lot of therapeutic work with photography. But I haven't found anything you know, similar, no, the same as what I do, but I'm sure there are people out there that are doing it. But it is a privilege, and you know, my mentor says, you know, it's the mutual journey that's so beautiful, because everyone is growing all the time, and my face-to-face shoot has meant, you know, it was the catalyst for me for so many amazing changes in my life, and it was like it opened the door up for me. The door was shut and I couldn't see past it. Suddenly, through my images, the doors kind of creaked open, and out there was this beautiful world for me to start exploring from a totally different place, one with love for myself and excitement, and feeling that you know, things aren't all doom and gloom for me anymore. Things have shifted to become exciting. You know, there's still going to be challenges to overcome, but I have a baseline that's much higher now, and I come from a place of self-compassion, which I mean, even now I still can't believe I say that.
Do you know what? And do you know, us, there should be not just women, but men as well. We should be able to say that, but it's so hard for us to say that. Like, to say that we love ourselves. I mean, we actually, yeah, you have hurt. You are allowed to hurt. You don't need to hurt them. We don't want to say it because we feel almost big-headed. Like, we can't say this. I can't feel like this, but you can.
Yeah,
You're the one who's put yourself through that journey.
yeah, and self-love isn't selfish, because
No.
when you look after yourself, when you change inside, the outside world changes for you, because we're just a reflection. Our experience of the world is just a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So if we have turmoil inside, the world is turmoil. If we have love inside, suddenly we start to see the love in the world, and we can start to give that in a much freer and deeper way. I mean, I don't believe that you can't love anyone unless you love yourself first. I don't believe that.
I never ever believe that.
Me.
Oh my God, preach that, because someone always says that to me. How could you love someone else if you don't love yourself? Oh, I love everyone. Like, I'm never joking. Even people walking down the streets, I love everyone.
Yeah.
But I don't have to love myself. But I don't hate myself. It's just I have a lot of love for everyone else. And I think I'm so glad you said that, because everyone always says that to me, and I'm like, I don't really think that works like that.
No, and I just think you love differently when you love yourself.
Oh God, and there's so much type of love as well, like what a mother has for their child, or what you have for your pet cat, or even just seeing the sun in the morning. That makes me, I'm like, God, I love the sun. Yeah. I don't love the sun like I love my mum. Do you know what I mean? It's all different. But I definitely agree, and I think it's just incredible what you do. Now, I don't want to run out of time on Zoom, because I've not got the free version of, I've only got the free version, so it might come out, but I want to know how people can get in touch with you.
So via any of my social medias, or my website, which is kathrynchapman.co.uk. So it's Kathryn Chapman.co.uk. And I'm at Kathryn Chapman Photography on Instagram, Facebook, and I also have face-to-face photos on Facebook as well, and I'm on LinkedIn. So
brilliant, you're on everything, and I will attach all to this video as well, so everyone can get in touch, because, well, I don't know if you're still doing stuff with COVID. Is it being postponed? And well, obviously for reasons.
I'm not doing anything in lockdown, but once lockdown is lifted, I'll be shooting outside, so I can do my freedom shoots, and then as soon as I can book space for the face-to-face shoots. I do it all with social distancing adhered to, so it's because I work one-to-one, it's very easy, and I have a long lens, so
easy. It's just, you never know with these days who's doing what's doing. I can't keep up all these rules. But thank you so much for your time, Kathryn, and I'm so excited to get this out. And do you know what, I think I'm going to be booking in with you, because I think this is just what an incredible idea, and please do stay in touch.
I'd love to photograph you. That would be amazing.
Oh, I don't like photos being taken, but let's make this happen, definitely. And I think Vanessa will love it too, because
thank you.
It's just beautiful. And thank you for being so honest as well with your past and stuff, because I know that people don't like saying it, but I just thank you very much for being so open.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really lovely to talk to you. Bless you.